Here are 3 of the most crucial ways you can reinvent your life. This is coming from a guy who pretty much lost everything because of some dumb choices he made. Now, I'm here, got a beautiful wife, wonderful home, and a loving family besides that. No matter where you're at, these 3 steps can probably help your life get better. The first step is acknowledging your life sucks. Now, you're probably already doing this to a point. You're like, man, my life sucks. Rent's too expensive, food is expensive, living is expensive, and work's not worth it. And we're all just in this pity party together. It's probably where you're at. What I mean when you need to acknowledge it is you need to acknowledge you're the issue. Now, sure, there are things that are outside of your control. My favorite example of that is the meteorite plan. I don't have a meteorite plan. If a meteorite falls here and hits my house, whether I'm in or out of it, I ain't got a plan for that. So I don't know what's going to happen. And that's out of my control. If the zombie apocalypse happens, ain't got a real plan. I've had some fun thoughts, but in reality, I don't know what I'm going to do. There are things that are outside of our control, but there are a lot of things we can control. And that's accepting that life can get better, that most likely you're the one keeping yourself down. You're the one who has that negative self-talk that's pulling you into the gutter. And my favorite example of this is from the Bible. It's in John chapter 8. It talks about this woman who gets caught in the act of adultery, and the religious elite of that day drag her before Jesus, looking to condemn him. They try to pose an impossible question on him of what should he do to this woman? Because Jesus, they knew, would want to spare her. But the law says that she should die. And Jesus gets out of it. But that's not the part that we're talking about here. The part we're talking about happens after. After all the men leave, Jesus kneels down and asks her, "Where are they? Where are those who condemn you?" I'm sure at that moment she looks around, seeing it just being the 2 of them, and she says, "No one." And that's important, because she could have easily, in that moment, condemned herself. Jesus knew what she did wrong. She knew what she did wrong. And for so long in my past, I spent condemning myself. And sure, I've messed up. I've made mistakes. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but nobody's perfect. And none of us should live a life condemning ourselves, because if we do, we will never make it anywhere. Now, we should be held accountable for those actions, and there are consequences to everything we do. But we must take responsibility and accept that we can move on from those things. And accept the responsibility that you may be holding yourself accountable to things that God never would want you to be held accountable to. The second thing you can do is I want you to get out a sheet of paper. Write down one thing that you believe is true. I'm not referring to things that are scientific. Gravity is going to work on this planet. That's true. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about 2 + 2 is 4. That's true. That's not what I mean by true. I mean, for me, Jesus is the Son of God. Or that my friends only care about me because we've known each other for so long. Those are 2 world beliefs that I really confronted. One of them was I still believe to be true, that Jesus is the Son of God. And with all my study and everything I've done, I can't help but believe that. But the other one proved to be false. My friends weren't just there because we grew up together. My friends are there because they care about me, and we developed a good relationship, not just because life put us together. Now, sure, that helped, but they could have chosen to leave at any moment. And I really had to dive into my own psyche to figure that out. And I had to write out these beliefs, and I had to jump on either side of the problem. What happens if they're true? What happens if they're false? And going through in detail what these worldviews I have really mean. And it's not a problem if you question something that's the truth, because it only gets stronger because you realize that it's truer than you believed. and the things that are false will start to melt away. The third thing you can do is basically to indoctrinate yourself. I know that sounds silly, that sounds a little out there, but you have to tell yourself what you believe sometimes. For so long, you probably have had a negative self-talk that's been lying to you, telling you you're worthless, that your life is meaningless, that the only thing that matters is someone else. Well, now it's time to do the opposite. Tell yourself you matter. Tell yourself from these world views that you've questioned, find the truth in them and tell yourself the truth over and over again. Growing up, I loved finding weird sources of information that told the truth, and one of them was a practice they used in Nazi Germany. If you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, people will believe it. And the same is said for the truth. If you tell yourself the truth loud enough and long enough, you will start to believe it. So take the time to get some time alone in a private area where you can out loud, preferably in a mirror, tell yourself, what do you believe? What do you want to believe? And dive into that and hear yourself saying it to yourself. Believe it. And that'll change so much in your life. Those 3 things, none of which are really easy. And I don't recommend doing them all at once because it takes a lot of emotional and physical energy to go through this. But you have to start somewhere. You have to push yourself. You have to do this to become more than who you already are. Or else you will continue to hate the life you live. And if you don't hate your life, and I don't know how you got this far into this video because it doesn't really, it's not really for you. And that's okay. But thank you. And good night.